Let me ask you, how many of you would like to advertise to find private lenders? Well, I would imagine it's every single one of you. Let me talk to you, though, about your private lender options. You see, you've had only two options when finding private lenders, and let me give them to you. People you know and people you don't know. And I'm not being facetious, that's just the way it is. In fact, I've drawn a little chart here to illustrate this. On that option A side, if you don't have any private lenders, you're in an exempt category, which means that in many states you can go out and find private lenders instantly, but you need to deal with what I call family, friends, and associates, or as the SEC calls them, people that you've got a prior relationship with. And you either have no filing to do, like you do in my state and most states, or in 13 states, you have to send in a memo or a state form, and then you can go get private lenders. So pretty simple on the exempt side. Now, most of you, though, want to advertise, and therefore you would have to do what's called a registration with the SEC. You'd have to register with the SEC to advertise, and that would also include you folks out there that want to pool money or go above thresholds in dollars or the number of lenders that are allowed within your state. You got to file if you want to go that way. Now, the issue with these two options is this. One is if you're in the NFL club, which is no friends left. Well, you know, you're stuck. You can't do the exempt side, so you're forced into having to register. Or maybe you feel like you're not a speaker, and maybe you just don't want to pay an SEC attorney, or maybe you want to advertise, but you just don't want to register. You see, and maybe there's other issues out there. Maybe you just don't want to deal with the SEC and have them too involved in your business. So you've been stuck with these two options. Now, what I want to talk to you about is what Ralph and I have been talking about is prospecting for private lenders, and I want you to understand the difference in my terms between prospecting and advertising. Advertising, they come to you. You put an ad out, and the potential private lenders would come to you. Now, in prospecting, look at it like fishing. That's how I see them different. In fishing, you hook them and then you reel them in. So how would you like to advertise all you want to find private lenders and obviously stay in compliance with the SEC? Well, the key to your success is utilizing the three-touch rule that Ralph's been training on and use it for your advantage out there. Just imagine doing a one-on-one meeting or a group meeting, maybe even a webinar, or maybe just a webinar, a website, and doing it with strangers and piling up private money. So the key is, how can you bridge the gap and move folks from strangers to, as the SEC calls it, prior relationship, or what I do for training purposes, I call it family, friends, and associates. So let me take you down the path of one of the ways. I'll expand on it and hopefully paint a vision for you of what you should do to take advantage of prospecting for lenders. Let's say you have a group meeting. Now, you can do a one-on-one meeting at McDonald's if that works for you, but let's talk about a group meeting. And the goal in the meeting is to train only. You are not allowed or not going to ask for private money. You're just going to go on in and do a training. So you advertise to get folks to show up for the meeting, and then you train them on real estate investing using private lenders. In other words, you teach them about private lending. In fact, a lot of folks out there don't know what private lending are, but they got huge chunks of money that they could loan to you if you could teach them what private lending is all about. Now, it's very important that you understand the basis of this, which is 3 contacts with the potential private lender over a 30-day period, and the meeting would be your first touch, and you'd want to record these touches and just so that everybody's on the same page, you cannot ask for money or for them to loan you money until past 30 days, so on day 31, and you have to be past the 3 touches, so it would have to be touch number 4. It's important you do not tell them that you borrow money from private lenders. Write this down. Don't tell them that you're out looking for them to loan you money. This is education only. Look at it like you're the teacher and you're going to teach them what a private lender is. The same rules apply for doing a luncheon as I described my premium system. And for those of you that don't have that, it's very simple. That I found that potential private lenders won't drive any more than about 15 miles to get to the meeting. So you don't want to cast your net too far, waste your advertising dollars. And also, obviously, you'd want to have it in a nice place where there's no interruptions. You don't want karaoke going on next door. Now, some people are curious about should you buy lunch, and I do in my luncheon where it's with family, friends, and associates. In fact, that's one of the hooks that I have to get them there, to attract them. But I wouldn't buy lunch for this type because it's an educational luncheon, and on the difference being on my private lender luncheon where family, friends, and associates, they actually sell each other on becoming one of my private lenders while they're having lunch. Well, in this scenario, with this 3-touch rule and educational luncheon, all you're looking to do is have them to get to know you. You want to be the star. You want them to get comfortable with you. And so there's no real purpose or need for them to get to know the other folks in the room or to sell them on anything because there's nothing to be sold at this juncture. You don't need to convert anything on an educational luncheon. Just have them like and respect you. What you are not allowed to do with strangers at an educational luncheon, ask for money. You're not allowed to tell them that you're hoping they will become one of your private lenders. That's not what this is about, and I need to caution you on that over and over again. Now, one of the things I created, just so everyone could get the flavor of this concept, is I put together a sample presentation for you to take a look at, to where you see how I talk to people about becoming a private lender, but don't take them so far down the line that where I'd encourage them to loan me money. So this would be the opening slide where I'd get up and introduce myself and say, hey, I want to talk to you about a very little known option for you investing and train you on private lending, and today is just training. Why you should be excited? Well, in the next few minutes I'll be showing you a closely held, little known investment secret that can actually increase your investment income and add additional diversification. You can do it quickly without specialized knowledge and without extra work and without giving up control. Would you like more choices for your investment funds? Well, I'm sure you would. It's a common misconception among Americans that only investments are allowed are passbooks called certificates of deposit or CDs, annuities, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. The truth is that broader investment options are available out there to you. So more options are available, but while these kinds of investments may be right for some, in some market cycles, they don't offer the kind of returns and freedom and diversity that a private lender plan does. So what I'm going to talk to you about, and here's our agenda for the next 30 minutes, is what is private lending, what is self-directed, what are the choices for your investment funds, what choices for your retirement funds, how do you self-direct your IRA, options you have, and how you benefit. And hang on to your questions, write them down, and I'll answer them once I'm through with the presentation, because obviously as I go through the presentation, maybe I'll hit on what you were looking for an answer for anyhow. And that way I can get through this in a timely manner. What is private mortgage lending and what is it for you? Well, think about how your bank makes money today. They take in money on low interest that they offer on savings and IRAs and CDs from you, and then they turn around and loan the money out at a higher rate to folks that buy personal residence or to real estate investors. And we can show you how you can also be the bank. On being a private lender, you're in control and you choose who and when you loan your dollars. You earn above average rates of return. You have an option for monthly income, and there's potential for even a higher rate of return if they fail, and I know you don't like to talk about failure, but you should look at all the options so that you're fully aware. Now, let me go through 7 simple steps. Step number 1 is you locate a real estate investor. This is not a realtor. It is someone that invests in real estate that you would want to work with. You self-direct your CD or IRA funds to a closing agent for purchasing, and you do not give them to the real estate investor. This goes to a formal closing, and the real estate investor would sign a promissory note, and a mortgage is issued to you, which gives you a lien on the property in case something goes wrong. And the private or the real estate investor can't sell the property without you being paid. Now, that was just 9 of 50 some slides that I created, 53 slides. And I want you to think about the possibility of how simple that would be for you to give that presentation to somebody or one like it, just setting a McDonald's on your laptop. I mean, it doesn't have to be a luncheon, but obviously the presentation would be awesome for a luncheon too. And that way what it does is it gets you over the hump on the first touch, which is what we're trying to do here, and it gets them to know you, which is the SEC's goal of the 3-touch rule. How do you end an educational presentation? What do you do next? Well, I'd recommend that you at the end that you don't bring like anything with you other than to just do the presentation. And I would get their name and address, obviously, so you can get a hold of them, maybe collect business cards. So the next step then would be to follow up with the folks and think about how you would get a hold of them next. Maybe offer them a free report and send them that report, and then follow up after that and ask them if they got any questions about the report. So you can see right there you can achieve your 3 touches. You can also use the internet, social media, or the mail. And what are some of the pitfalls? Well, I've listed a handful here. I listed 8 of them for you. Don't assume that you're smarter than the SEC and think that you're not going to get caught. Don't try to sell something or offer them a security, if you will, offer that you take money from them. Play by the rules. Don't say the loan is guaranteed, ever, ever, ever. Make sure that the 3 touches are at least a day apart. You don't want to try to fool the system and have your 3 touches all in the same day or anything like that. Ralph wants you to do it 3 days, at least a day apart. Don't be too stiff. That's uncomfortable for you and uncomfortable for the potential lender. You want them to get to like you, and be professional. If you do decide to do a lunch, this isn't lobster, caviar, alcohol. It's more the rubber chicken crew, and that's what I do on my luncheons and when I attract private lenders. And remember, bottom line, this is education only. Even if you're hungry to get private lenders, which I'm sure you are, and maybe even desperate for the next deal you got coming down the pike, don't break the rules. And finally, obviously, don't mislead folks. Just teach them. Just teach them what private lending is all about. Now, let me share with you so you can understand how my systems work together and how this relates to what we're talking about. Up at the top, the first box up there that says marketing tools to sell folks on being your lender, that would be my premium or my basic system. They fit in that box. That's what they do. And then also, it leads right into the legal box down below that. Well, with the premium system, I have 4 chapters on the SEC, plus I typically offer 8 SEC audios that Ralph has put together. And then on the basic system, I also have an audio in there of 12 key things that folks need to know. And the basic system is set up to borrow from family, friends, and associates, people that you know. And then managing lenders, that is my wealth management system. And so those are the cornerstones, and that's what I have offered folks for years, and are very powerful on doing just what I said. Attracting private lenders, making sure that you follow the SEC rules, and managing lenders. Now, getting back to these 2 options that you got, where people you're either in the exempt category where you're working with people that you know, or you're forced to register. What if I could come up with a system to let you advertise, stay safe, so you could use the premium system or the basic system to get a ton of private money? In that blue arrow there, it's my representation saying, rather than register, even though I'm very supportive of the SEC and encourage that if that's what your desire is, some people don't want to do that, and I'm trying to fill that gap through education systems. Think about how converting a stranger to someone that is an associate. Well, what you would need is that box at the top. Now, I've got the 3 boxes I had before below that, but up at the top is a new box that says Advertise to convert strangers. And I want to talk to you about that box, which is utilizing this 3-touch rule. And I want you to stay safe, and I want to help you to become successful with this opportunity. And so what I've done is I have created Private Lender Gold Home Study System, and I'd like to talk to you about that for just a couple minutes. The Private Lender Gold is a brand new system to bridge the gap from strangers to family, friends, and associates. It sets up on top of the premium system and the basic system, and look at it as a funnel of funneling strangers into your life to have them become associates so that you can borrow money from them. And then also use them as private lenders. There is a picture of it, and here's what you get. You get the essential guide to prospecting manual. Remember, we're talking about prospecting. We're fishing here. And in the manual, it gives you the rules. It also covers in-depth holding an educational luncheon, or to be honest with you, I'd meet people at McDonald's. I mean, it's whatever floats your boat, whatever you're comfortable with. It covers all 15 pitfalls, and I covered 8 of them in brief there, but this goes in depth. It gives you the critical follow-up steps, and actually the follow-up steps, the knowledge of how to do this, and the follow-up steps are the essence of this system, because you got to do the 3-touch rule to get you to touch 4 where you can ask for money. And then the PowerPoint presentation. I showed you a handful of slides there, and I created 53 slides that are just dynamite. In fact, that's one of the hardest hurdles for you to get over, would be to create the PowerPoint slides, and I've included that in this system. It's done for you. There are 4 great audios that cover everything on how to do prospecting and stay safe. First audio is me, covering along with Kevin Durr, one of my coaches, and we go through why it's so critical and what the needs are for this and how to manage this. And then Ralph comes in on the next 3 along with me, and we cover the 3-touch rule. We cover bridging the gap and the pitfalls and having a meeting with the folks, and how to follow up to get to the 4th touch. Frankly, I believe these to be one of the best audio series I have ever done. Here's the topics: the 3-touch rule, general solicitation, bridging from strangers to family, friends, and associates, and the 15 pitfalls. What is a specific offering and why it is important? The critical follow-up steps to get you from point A to point B to get you to the money, and a ton more. I've included in this newspaper ad, postcard, and where I would advertise on Craigslist. There is a luncheon check sheet and a webinar check sheet. It includes my 2 special reports, one for folks with IRAs and another report which is 12 questions on folks with CDs. And this is critical because, I've already done the reports for you so that you can get to step 2 and step 3 and the PowerPoint presentation. In fact, once people learn about this system, this is what they're going to want to get their hands on, because it covers folks with CDs and people with IRAs. It's clean, and that's the key. It doesn't violate the SEC rules. It's just pure investment training on what a private lender is and why these people ought to think about it. It has the information you might not have thought of, and it's all done for you. Now, if I was going to package this up, like I do my premium system, my basic system, and my other systems, the wealth management system. Put them in a cover. Hands down, $897. In fact, it'd be a steal at that. But I've decided to make it affordable to everybody to get their hands on this. So I'm going to deliver it as a digital product. In fact, I took a survey at one of my recent events, and I asked folks, would they rather save money and get a digital download or pay for a hard copy? And I'm telling you, 90+% of the room raised their hand. They said they'd rather save the money and get a digital product. So I've done that, and that's what it's going to sell for on the website. But since you've been so kind to be on this webinar, I want to give you a better deal. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it down to $397, but you've got to invest now. Why invest? Well, it saves you a ton of money and a ton of time on avoiding the SEC registration and the attorney fees if you'd have to register. See, here's what I think happens with my students. I think they know they can work with, well, not just my students, any real estate investor out there that wants private money. They go out, and if they learn a little bit, they work with family, friends, and associates. That's how I got started. And then they hear about registration, and they don't want to register. And so, they either ignore that, or in some cases, they don't even know about it, and they blatantly go out and advertise. And that's a great way to get yourself in a whole lot of hot water. Just the opportunity and the vehicle, if you will, of private lender gold allows you to move people into your life to become a private lender, and it saves you a ton of money if you opt not to be one of the folks that want to hire a high-priced SEC attorney and register. Plus, first 7 folks, I'm going to give you a hotline certificate to me. You sign up, and I will give you my personal email to where I will answer your questions over the next 90 days to help get you up and running with a system, but you got to move on this. Now, let me talk to you beginners for just a second. Getting your hands on the private lending gold opens up a tremendous opportunity to attract private lenders and stay safe within the SEC guidelines. Let's say you're someone that feels like you can't give a speech, whether you're a beginner or not. Let's talk about that. Well, with doing private lender gold, there's no pressure. You're just training. You aren't begging for money or anything like that. You just get up and have fun. You got nothing to lose. You don't have to do a luncheon, even though that's a great way to go. You can just do it at a restaurant like I talked about. You could hire somebody to do it as long as they're trained to do it the right way and stay safe. And the other thing is the system's totally done for you. Let's say you're in the NFL club. No friends left. Well, it's a no-brainer for you. You need to be the one of the first 7 right off the bat. It's a must-have system. And let's say you want to do one-on-ones with strangers. Well, it makes life easy for you. You're traveling with your laptop. You got a stranger. You can run them through the presentation. Somebody you just met. And then PPM. Actually, you're the catalyst on why this thing got created, because I saw a lot of my students that had private placement memorandums, or some of you might know it as syndications. They spend big bucks to get this wonderful document so they can go out and borrow across state lines and borrow multi-millions of dollars. And when they get done, all of a sudden they find out they're not allowed to advertise. Well, here once again, it's a no-brainer. Let's be candid. What's the worst that can happen? You get your hands on the system. You go out, you put it into effect. Let's say you fall on your face in the first luncheon. So what? You've learned something. You get up, dust yourself off, do it again, have fun. And this system's got it all done for you. It's got it all. It's got newspaper ads. It's got the postcards. It's got the 2 special reports. And don't overlook that, because you got to get to that second and third touch. I already got the reports done. And it's got the intelligence. It's got the logic. It's got how you utilize the system. The manual is awesome. The awesome manual. 7 days to check it out. If it doesn't meet your expectations, you get a prompt and courteous refund. You got nothing to lose. I want you to be happy. How do you get your hands on it? Well, right now you got to jump on it, so you're one of the first 7. allensoffer.com/touch for the 3-touch rule. www.allens, I made my name plural, ALANS offer, allensoffer.com, and then put that /in, TOUCH. allensoffer.com/touch, or call 1-800-584-3346. I got friendly operators standing by, getting ready to take care of you. Just call them up and get in line in this thing so you don't miss out. Call 1-800-584-3346 right now, and don't miss out. Why, if you're a fence setter, jump in. You got nothing to lose, and be one of the first 7. I'll tell you what, you need to know a couple things about this system. One is, there is nobody on the planet that has ever taught this before. Number 2 is, I had my SEC attorney research every state in the United States, and he's researched Canada too, but every state in the United States, and he uncovered the 3-touch rule. I paid big bucks to get that done, and I'm so happy that we did, because it is opening up a door that has never ever been opened before on this planet. So I'm the first to teach this. There's nothing else like this, and you folks can utilize this system, the 3-touch rule system, in Private Lending Gold, my home study system, to do exactly what you need to do to bring strangers into your life through advertising and amass money to fund your real estate deals. I'll tell you what, this is a game changer right now. Go to allensoffer.com/touch. Don't be left out. Be one of the first 7, or call 1-800-584-3346.